All right.
Program the computer.
Check.
We create a mental atmosphere.
Check, check.
Fear not, my friends. This will be my greatest performance.
Give it to me.
Here we go. We came, we saw, we kicked it.
Oh, we are so going to kick it. It is Grand Prix Weekend right here in downtown Long Beach. The sound of 12 dozen angry hornets swirling around you. That's what it sounds like when you...
And a bunch of out-of-towners.
Yeah, a lot of out-of-towners. And we'll get to that today on the show. Changes are coming to a beloved Long Beach breakfast institution. We're going to talk to Josh Beadel all about them. Coming on up.
Yeah, this is Mike Stark, and we're one step closer to an outdoor music venue in Long Beach.
Yay!
Ooh, I'm Melanie Ray. And do Bert and Ernie have an agenda?
What?
More on that.
That is so awesome. I know what she's going to talk about. And it's fun. How was your week? We're back in studio, finally.
Yay!
If you follow our show, we've been trying to
I
come
follow
to
our show.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, me as well.
And the last couple of weeks, we've tried to record a show from home. We were so good at it during the COVID years. But I guess when you fall out of practice, it's one of those things.
Nothing beats being in the room together.
I agree.
Anyway.
Absolutely.
I agree. Yeah, especially if we can, eat. We're all
Especially
together.
if we
I'm
can
happy
eat.
about that. More on that to come.
Ooh,
anyway,
awesome.
The city of Long Beach last week, I'm going to start with the good news on top, had passed a motion to become an LGBTQ sanctuary city.
Yay.
Hooray, Long Beach.
Yeah, proud.
And also enact a Trans Awareness Day, which is going to be March 31st. It's going to be Trans Awareness Day in the city of Long Beach.
Right on.
Great.
So while other city governments around us enact their craziness, we are actually taking some steps to keep us sane into the future, that's for sure.
Well, and clear in who we are.
Yeah.
Right? This is Long Beach, and it's open and affirming, and let's hang it over the city hall.
Yeah, and the protest last Sunday, did y'all get
I
out?
saw it. There was a lot of people
Me
out
too.
there. Yeah.
Yeah, and we got to get them here in Long Beach.
Next one's April 19th
Good to know.
in Lakewood.
Oh, great. Good to know.
Yeah, which
Remind us to
surprised
get us
me.
a
There
bit
isn't
closer.
anything organized here, but in the way the numbers are good, so you kind of want to group. So it's up in Lakewood.
They have to rest after Grand Prix weekend. When
Oh, that's it. They're hungover. They're too
weekends in a
hungover.
row. Yeah, there's 2 weekends in a row. That can't happen. However, getting to some of the strange news, Melanie's got a story about Sesame Street.
Oh, I got to say, Robert Garcia,
love
our
him.
former mayor, our
Yeah.
current congressman, and I'm kind of starstruck over him. In fact, last week I ran into him at the Ordinary, and I was out with some friends, and I think he was running in to go to the bathroom, and I jumped right in front of him and went, Robert Garcia,
Oh, that's great.
out there fighting the good fight.
Yeah,
and
he
he was
is.
in true politician manner, shook my hand, smiled, and ran off.
Exactly.
Yes, he had
He's
stuff
got
to
it
do.
down.
Next time you see him, could you tackle him? Because we're trying to get him for our event on May 3rd.
I'm working on it. I'm working on it.
We want to recognize him and all the other folks, especially Robert, in the last couple of months, has really stepped up to spread the message that we've been spreading here on the radio station, which is you got to keep your voice loud and you got to keep saying the stuff that's important to you. You can't give up. You can't fade away at this time. And that's when I heard him speak at Orange High School recently. Wow, he was dynamic. And I thought, well, that man's going to be president. Then I realized, nope, he can't.
He can't.
But however, if Trump's going to introduce any resolution so he can become president again, then let's introduce a resolution to make sure that Robert Garcia gets to be president.
Yeah.
Why not? Hey, tit for tat.
But everything's possible right now.
Yeah,
but
well.
Robert Garcia is in the Capitol building fighting the good fight.
Yeah.
And he was opposing a, a group that's headed by our favorite MTG
Oh, yeah.
about funding for PBS and NPR. And he showed a picture of Bert and Ernie, talked about PBS's gay agenda. Bert and Ernie, they've lived together for a long time. He asked if... He inquired as to Elmo's loyalty. He might be communist because he's red.
Oh, my God.
And he's always talking about sharing. And I think, and I think this is brilliant because the thing about gaslighters and shameless people, which
Yeah.
is who we're up against right now, is facts don't work. Numbers don't work. Shaming them, calling them racist, none of that works. You got to mock them.
Yeah, I agree.
You got to mock them, and that's the kind of thing. I mean, just look at them. I mean, look at what's his name's hair. I mean, it begs to be mocked, and nothing else hits home. So I like Robert Garcia's take on this. I'd like to write him some material.
You know, I love the fact that he is enjoying just poking Marjorie, just a little dig at her for sure. And then, of course, when he started asking people if they had ever seen any programming. No, they've never seen the stuff they're trying to ban, or the books they've tried to ban.
This is not a literate crew.
Wow, and still pretending like they are, and that they know better for the entire world. Did
you see Buttigieg's response to Trump making fun of him, calling him that was Alfred E. Newman?
No.
Yeah, he called Buttigieg Alfred E. Newman, and on Colbert, Buttigieg said, well, at least I inspired him to pick up some literature.
Right.
And, it's time to play dirty.
Yeah,
and,
I agree.
I
said for years that we need to yell and scream the way they did, especially when it comes to healthcare. We have to use the tact that they do, which is they're going to kill us. This week, they're talking about getting rid of Medicaid in some of the states where they're red states.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, why would you attack healthcare first? Really,
that's what they did last round too.
That's about
taking
care of people.
That's why they're attacking it first. It's really good versus evil.
Well,
why would you take children's lunches? Like, what kind of horrible person says we're going to start by cutting free lunch?
Well, loathe thy neighbor seems to be their slogan, and it's a title of an article on The Guardian talking about the destruction of empathy, actually turning away from it. The title here is Elon Musk and the Christian right are waging war on empathy.
The Christian right.
Yeah, that's amazing, isn't that? And it's your everyday human experience, golden rule kind of stuff.
Do unto others.
Then they're saying, oh, you know what? You ought to take care of yourself first, because if you're not here, then you can't help anybody else. Strangeness. And that was our good Vice President Vance taking on some Catholic doctrine.
Yeah.
However, do not commit the sin of empathy, tweeted the Christian podcaster Ben Garrett with a photo of Booty in her religious garb. This is Marianne Booty. Who delivered a message from the pulpit of the Washington National Cathedral. Remember?
Yeah.
And he said, in the name of God, I ask you to have mercy upon our people. Well, he's saying, do not commit the sin of empathy. The snake is God's enemy and yours too. He's calling that guy a snake. Yeah, this is something strange.
Wow.
When you think of all the, I can't think of an analogy where you could say something like, hungry? You should never eat. Right? Because, because, no, we don't need to eat.
Well, and the acrobatics it takes to rewrite Christianity and say, actually, it's bad to love your neighbor. Yeah. What?
And then to have people in pulpits preach it. That, to me, is the scary part. But then again, we all know those kind of churches, and normally they exist mostly to get your donations and keep alive that way. But strange as other things, people are revoking student visas on campus this week.
Yeah, and I read on NPR, because I read NPR, that they're going to check immigrants' social networks for anti-Semitism.
No kidding.
That's just, here we are, fascism, folks.
Whoa. Yeah, and we wondered how long it would take to get here. Well, handbasket, handbasket, here we come.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is really strange out there.
I wonder, the MAGA's got to get mad. And I don't think it's moving pretty quick. They're going to be they're pretty mad now.
Yeah, you take away their health care, that's going to get mad.
And their money.
You mess with their SNAP now, requiring you to prove that you're working again. Once again, that's what they're working on.
I have worked with so many hungry children. I've worked with so many children who have cereal for dinner, or every meal at home is cereal, and they only eat at school.
Yeah. And that's
not the reason that
You just wonder what people are feeling when they're preaching this sort of lack of support for their neighbor.
Powerful.
You know, are they really though? That's the wonderful thing. Do they go home and go, I just
Well, and
I
that's
feel
the thing,
fantastic."
that's the thing that's so
Really?
hard is you want to believe that there's karma and somewhere these people get punished. But I
Yeah.
think the way these people get punished is they never feel joy. Trump isn't happy, right? Elon Musk isn't happy. Have you ever even seen them smile, these horrible people?
But I've seen Disney's Aladdin, and the evil genie, when he gets too much power, right? He's trapped.
Yeah.
So let's hope
but it's horrifying.
It is horrifying. And it's our world at the moment. And what you can do is you can keep yourself from being pulled down into it, because remember, the clown show's on and they want to make sure you're feeling a certain sort of way. Don't give them that satisfaction.
Don't look at the shiny object too much.
You know, exactly. And really, seriously, that every time he spins something in our direction, look away.
Look away.
Yeah.
Nothing to see here.
Come to our party on May 3rd.
There you go.
You know what? There's
Bingo.
Do that.
I love that segue.
Nice
There's going to
segue.
be a party at the
Music,
Edison Theater.
people.
Food, drink. We're going to have prizes. We're going to have a great time.
I'm
are.
performing.
And yes, you are actually.
So you should come and
it's
forget
going to
about
be-
that stuff.
And it's going to be a room full of people like-minded.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm going to guarantee you that you'll leave there feeling like, wow, we can make a difference in this community.
Yep.
Just by keeping our voice alive here on KLBP, and that's the
Yeah.
whole point of this. But now, a little bit of a respite. If you're ready for another cup of coffee, let's play some music.
Yay.
See what we can get to here. All right, Mike, what do we got coming at?
How about Jerry Jeff Walker and LA Freeway?
No.
Right on.
No?
I just don't know what the hell it is. Hey, here it comes.
You've been gone too long.
I am.
That's Jerry Jeff Walker and LA Freeway. Great song. Guy Clark tune. Melanie, where did Danny go?
Who? Danny who?
So, Mike, Melanie, I got a chance to get out of the studio, and I wandered over to the breakfast bar this last week, and I saw something amazing that I wanted to find out more about. And they have a brand new patio, so I decided let's go right to the source. And so we set up an interview. Here we are, sitting in this beautiful sunlight and Long Beach weather, out here with Josh Beadel. Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
No problem. So tell us first, number one, about how did you come to Long Beach?
Oh man, it's a long story.
Yeah.
I grew up in the high desert, Palmdale, Lancaster area. Went there for high school, grade school, everything like that. And moved down here to study music at Cal State Long Beach in year 2000.
No kidding.
And I've spent 5 years studying music in the percussion performance department at Cal State Long Beach. But I had always worked in the restaurant business, and my mom got us started working at Red Lobster back in the high desert.
kidding.
And all my family has worked at Red Lobster, almost everybody, except for my dad. But yeah, and then we moved down here, and then I started working in the industry down here, and that was it. So that's how I got to Long Beach.
So is Breakfast Bar your idea, or did you inherit it from somebody else or buy it?
No, so over the years from, transitioning, well, I never really transitioned out of music, still playing music on the regular, just for casual, but never made a living out of it. And it came to this point in my life where I said, I've always made a living doing this. And I still enjoy doing the restaurant business. And so through the years, we just came to the realization that if we were going to do something and do it well, we were going to do it ourselves. We had kind of got tired of working for other people and building their dream. So we decided to build our own. And the concept kind of came out of blending the two worlds that my wife and I came from in the industry. The bar background that I bring from working nightclubs and things like that, as well as her restaurant experience working for family-owned, operated restaurants here locally. And then we decided to do our own thing. Plus, we were having kids at that time.
Oh, wow.
So we have two kids. Jackie's now 13, and Jonah is 8, going to be 9. And we just wanted to create a life that we could be with them. So we designed a restaurant so we could have normal hours, as my wife calls it, vampire hours of the nightclub business, coming home at 2, 3 in the morning, and then having to wake up late, like 12 or 1 in the afternoon, and then just wouldn't be conducive for a family. So anyhow, that was that.
So this location, what was it before you guys got here?
It was Margarita Grill. It was pretty disarray. It was Galeana's Grill before that, or something along those lines. Overgrown bougainvillea, and not a whole lot of patio furniture or anything. So we just saw a diamond in a rough, really. And I've been driving past this restaurant, kind of looking disheveled for many, many years. And I just saw the real opportunity there. And that was back in 2012 is when the opportunity kind of came into our lap.
How long did it take you to put the ship shape? Get it ready?
So it took us about 3 months when we took over. What was it? It was August or July or something like September, August, somewhere in there. It took us 3 months. We opened in December that year, 2013. So it was 2013 December that we opened, and it's been 11 years now we've been here. So it took us 3 months. We had no money. It exhausted all of our savings.
Really?
Exhausted every single space of credit card that we had, and we still came up short. We came up short about 2 months worth of rent.
Whoa!
And $5,000 that I borrowed from my parents to put eggs in the refrigerator and things like that. And it was so tight, which was actually healthy for us because we were able to then sell those eggs to then buy new eggs and start to do that over and over and over again. And at the time, for 6 months for first opening, I was still working as a bartender 4 or 5 nights a week at Hamburger Mary's, the drag queen nightclub.
I'm familiar
on Pine
with it.
Avenue.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, that's wild.
So super fun.
God.
Where we're sitting, there used to be a pool for the hotel that we're attached to.
Yeah,
because that's the new patio space that we've expanded into and doing private events and things like that.
Yeah.
And at that time, back in 2013, I would literally wake up in the morning, butt crack of dawn, 4 a.m, come open the kitchen because I was cooking at the time, and Pam, my wife, was the server. And most days when we first opened, it was just the two of us.
Wow.
And people would come in. We'd have a handful of customers, and we're just getting started, And people would come in, and they'd look around. They'd say, "Man, is it just the two of you in here?" And you're like, "Yeah, this is our business. We're so excited." She would come back in the kitchen and help me flip eggs while I'm dropping French fries and doing other things. And then when she got busy out front, I'd leave the kitchen and in between orders, and I'd help her fill coffees and bring waters and do all the stuff.
Wow.
And you just work it till it works.
So what do you think? Because so many people get into the restaurant business and they aren't successful, but you all have been incredibly successful. What do you say you attribute your success to?
Hard work, of course, dedication to the craft, being strong on our values to be customer focused. We're in the people business more than anything else, not just for the customers that come and eat our food, and that there's several things that just should be standards that we've learned being in this industry for as many years as we have. And those things, in my mind, are good food. You can't be a restaurant without good food, right? So we wanted to make sure we checked that box. You can't have a restaurant that has a dirty, uninviting atmosphere, and you have to be friendly. I mean, if you stick to those 3 basic things, you should be doing okay if you're good.
And you guys did. I mean, you eventually expanded to another location. Right? How did that come about?
So I'm a dreamer. Through my heart, my passion is to just dream and to just keep growing and keep expanding. And I saw a diamond in the rough here, I saw another place that was underutilized in a really well-known area of Long Beach, Belmont Heights. And same thing, we lived around the corner from that place. Our kids went to school down the street at Fremont Elementary. And so I just saw this restaurant, this Italian restaurant that just seemed like it lost its luster and just kind of run down a little bit. And so again, saw another opportunity. Jumped into that in September of 2019.
Whoa.
And that was bad timing,
Yeah.
let's say.
Yeah, because
Then March rolled around and we're knee deep in construction, and there was no turning back because we already had floors broken apart and everything else. And we just lived through the pandemic and figured it out.
And it doesn't hurt that across the street was a brand new structure, went up Haven.
Mm-hmm.
The pharmacy went up there. So the whole corner's been revitalized.
It really has, and I think we had a lot to do with that. because of the impression that we have in the community already with this location now for 11 years. And then in 22, through the pandemic, we were finally able to get open. But it was a long, long ride because we had to shift gears at the time because we just had to keep paying our bills and keep people employed and do what we could to save the business. So it was some days it was a handful of cooks in the kitchen and my wife and I at the counter taking orders and doing takeout during the pandemic. So
I think you said something that's really important about most food businesses that stay in business. And it really is their focus on, first of all, the food. Because that, when I ask somebody about what they think about this place, it's always the food. And they can name dishes that they're famous. Like the lemon pancakes. If you haven't had them, get over here. And that's incredible because people say, that food's great there. Location couldn't be better. And for a while there, you guys were open at night, right, for dinner, I remember.
We tried doing that over at the new location because we, knowing Long Beach, knowing that that's more of a community where we're in the downtown area here on 70 Atlantic. So there's a lot more traffic all times of the day, but yet definitely in the morning and hours for us over here. But because the neighborhood we thought was maybe leaving during the day to go to work and then be coming back home at night, we thought maybe it would be a good thing. It just wasn't quite as successful as we needed to. And then we said, let's stick to what we do. Let's not try to reinvent the wheel and keep our life sane. But what also is wonderful about what we do is we have these two beautiful locations that are totally different characters that are free and open in the evening. And so that's why the new space here, the patio that we're sitting on now, as well as every night of the week, we could do a private party.
Sure.
Every night of the week, we could host an event or do something. So we've done a lot of charity. We've done a lot of different things over the years. But that's really the model for us is stick to breakfast. And then if we can fill the space for a private event where somebody wants to book out the restaurant. And it's really fun how, most people love it when they book out the whole restaurant. It feels pretty VIP.
Elvis Presley.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's really great.
Yeah.
It is a great story, and it's iconic now in downtown.
Sure.
When you worked at Hamburger Mary's, there's another iconic establishment in downtown Long Beach. Did you ever think you guys would evolve into be that part of the nature, the culture?
I wouldn't be fair to say that everybody who's in this industry is a part of that nature because that's what brings up the community at large is the restaurants where people gather, people experience life together through sitting down across the table. There's something sacred about that. And so it's not just us. We feel honored that we have been adopted into that. But I would turn that back and say that that's everybody in this industry, everybody who cares about people and wants to just do the right thing for somebody that's sitting with them.
So will we be hearing Josh and the breakfast baritones playing out here?
Baritones, no music for me. Unfortunately, I'm not in a band or anything like that.
Well, you got to do it for grand opening.
Yeah, well, we'll hire some musicians or something like that. Music has always just been a love and a passion, more so just because I love business. I love to, I've always had just big dreams. And so I still have a dream that I haven't accomplished quite yet, but is to have a place that does have music so we can have some really cool, amazing things for the community to
we can
experience.
hook you up at KLVP.
KLVP can hook us up.
We can hook you up with local people.
But then the other thing too is leveraging the Cal State music program that's just right here in our neighborhood is a dream of mine too, because some of the ideas and places that I want to have is there's so many students that just need a place to play, just need a place where they can get 4 or 5 people together and maybe be the house band for this place and just continue to hone their skills in. And there's such amazing musicians at that school, and they keep coming through year after year after year.
I spent 14 years on campus teaching over there, and what amazed me was the fact that that wasn't connected to their radio station, KJAS.
Yeah.
And so many brilliant musicians, and no young musicians or young music on KJAS. It was all old stuff.
Yeah.
And so that always frustrated me. But another story for another day. What's next?
Well, we're continuing to expand. I am always looking for a new place to put a breakfast bar. in a great community that we can invest ourselves in and make an impression for that community. Haven't quite found the perfect place for that yet, but I love this city. I love all the diversity that we have, and we're working on a project right now over on Broadway, and we're excited to be in the neighborhood and start taking over this nighttime place, and we're very excited about it. I can't say much more because I want to keep the anticipation growing for the community, and but we're very excited, and I think the community is really going to love it.
And the community, just having heard a tidbit of that, was excited. Seeing it in the press this past week. It's amazing how the word spreads like crazy.
It is. It does. And it's, Long Beach is a small, big city, and especially in the restaurant business, everybody knows pretty much everybody. And you've either worked with them at one place or another before, and or you sit at their bar, or that kind of stuff. So it's cool.
You said earlier, doing what you know, and that's what we do at the radio station, Long Beach Public Radio. We're about letting people know what's down here, number one. I'm so proud of downtown, and I'm kind of a little frustrated that it isn't busier because it went through the down period. It's trying to come back from it, and COVID then hit, and all that stuff. But that's why we're focusing, putting the spotlight on folks like yourselves, businesses that are in downtown and are supporting downtown, because we support it. Yeah, so great. Thank you so much for being with me today.
Thank you. Thanks for the opportunity to share what we're doing.
Yeah. And back in the studio, my two co-hosts, he didn't feed me.
Oh, sure.
What's that in your beard?
So you didn't. You never would.
We gotta eat today then.
All right, mornings on the beach. Danny, I guess, is on his way back.
We're throwing a 6th anniversary party, and you're invited. KLBP's One Voice Celebration, Saturday, May 3rd, 7 to 10 p.m. at the Edison Theater, 213 East Broadway in Long Beach. Singers, poets, storytellers, KLBP DJs, live bands, and more. Admission includes a year's membership in Long Beach Public Media, food and drink, and tickets to our prize opportunity drawings. Plus, you'll be part of a live radio broadcast from 8 to 9 p.m. In the whole history of this historic theater, there has never been a live broadcast. You'll be part of the premiere. But seating is very limited. Tickets and more information available at klbp.org. It's going to be a party. KLBP's One Voice Celebration, Saturday, May 3rd, 7 to 10 p.m. at the Edison Theater. Tickets and more information at klbp.org.
At 99.1 FM in downtown Long Beach and streaming at klbp.org. This is KLBP, Long Beach Public Radio.
It's your Saturday, Sunday morning show. It's Mornings on the Beach right here with Danny.
And Mike.
Melanie Ray.
I'm glad you came back finally.
You know, it was great.
Yeah.
You're going to love it. I'm telling you. They've invited us to come do a live broadcast there.
I'm
sweet.
in.
He wants to have music. I didn't realize he was a musician, as he said in the interview. So, live music's always been a thing. And, of course, all that interesting information about opening what is now Black. It's going to become, we don't know. He won't say what the name of it is going to be, but it's going to be fun. Whatever it is. A lot of new places opening up in downtown.
Yeah.
Next week on the show, we're going to be talking to the Waffle Boys. Those are the two guys that opened up And Waffles on the corner of Pine and First.
Sweet.
Yeah, I can't wait. And, of course, another reason for us to go and enjoy free food.
I love this job.
We have ulterior motives, that's for sure. But we do have some interesting news this week about music in our town.
Yes, absolutely.
I think this is great.
More about music. And, this is becoming more and more music town. We talked about the VIP situation up in that part of Long Beach. Well, down at the Queen Mary, there's going to be a venue, and it's been approved by the city. They've given the green light to the Long Beach Bowl. So now they're going to start whatever process from there to move ahead. A 10 to 12,000 seat arena out by the Queen Mary, and I think it'll be great. It'll be, I selfishly, it makes it easier to go to than
tell me about
the
it.
Greece,
for sure.
Hollywood Bowl, or any place else. So.
Right. And they say that the step they're in now is that they got permission to spend the money.
Right.
So we're going to start seeing things happen. But this, remember, was pre-tariff. I hope that doesn't. I really hope that steel or wood or whatever they're going to make this thing out of, I hope that doesn't get impacted.
American tinfoil.
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
But apparently the management company is good at doing this sort of thing.
Yeah, it's my understanding it's the same folks that do the Long Beach Terrace Theater. They aren't a huge company, but sometimes it's better to have a mom and pop operation.
I can't wait. And just to think of, and you see, I don't know if you see the commercials on television for Discover California, spend money over here on your vacation. There is a scenario where they fly over a amphitheater that's on a marina. And I'm thinking, is that projecting what we're about to see?
Maybe so.
It's kind of one of those images that you think, oh yeah, that's going to happen here. So I'm excited about it, and we want to have our own Chris Kosach has been talking to the mayor as his office about including us in whatever plans they have over there. And if they're listening, I would love to have a radio station in the sound booth. That would be awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
That stuff. And of course, then we'll have to raise millions of dollars to pay for the rights to broadcast. It's always something.
No, it'll be nice to go see those shows without the drama of taking the bus to the bowl, to the, Lakewood, the la-da-da-da-da-da.
Yeah.
Getting too cranky for that.
Speaking of communications and the FCC and radio and all that stuff, Kendrick Lamar, who did the Super Bowl halftime show back a couple of months ago.
Right.
I didn't realize he'd gotten 125 FCC complaints.
Well, when you consider the whole nation, that's not a lot, right?
Not really, but.
Yeah, but.
What were they complaining about?
Who knows? That they didn't understand it, maybe?
Yeah, I was going to say I didn't understand the words. And
what they
thought
trying. Was a lot of the motions they were doing, they were complaining about being gangland signatures.
Oh.
I'm like, what?
Wah, wah.
Do you ever watch TikTok?
Yeah. I will say that, you have to pay something to make a complaint now.
You do.
So
I think it's almost $200.
Yeah, so at least, people are putting their money out there now. It used to be you just send a nasty note to the FCC and
that's how you get a book banned in Florida, right? You just whine about it.
Right, but now the FCC requires, because they were inundated all the time.
Yeah.
They wanted to cut that down a little bit, so you got to pay something to complain.
I'm heard that it's right after Beyonce's Super Bowl is what that one was enacted because there were so many complaints.
Right.
But, once again, if you can't handle it, don't watch. You have the opportunity to turn it off.
Yeah.
I don't understand. But,
it could be, racially fueled too. It was a very hot.
And that's what they're saying.
Yeah.
What was the other one who had the Kanye when he had the mobile home and the house and everything on the middle of the outfield?
That wasn't Kanye. That was the L.A. Salute to L.A.
that's
rap.
Right. Oh yeah.
Oh
with,
right.
With Dre and Snoop and all of that. So that was great.
And so it's decidedly becoming more, at least from outside looking in, like it's African American talent they're really featuring. Does that mean the demographic of who's watching? Because it's all about the dollar.
Yeah.
Is that changing too?
Could be.
Yeah.
Well, I think racists are brazen now. Too.
Really?
I think also with the racists,
They've been unleashed.
even though they're on top, they're still like super whiny about it. So
yeah, I have a comedian friend that I work with for years on the radio, and after the Lamar thing, he got on Instagram and he said, "Listen, white people, if you didn't get it, you're not supposed to get it.
Yeah, there you go.
It wasn't for you.
It wasn't for you to start with.
It wasn't for you. And just look at what's his name that was in the White House with Trump. I can't think of his name. The white trashy guy, the singer, and he had the Kid Rock. Yeah.
Notice how we
Okay.
got there
Where's he?
quick?
They're just whiny because he can't get a Super Bowl show.
Yeah, really. However, is talking to yourself normal?
Yes. Oh,
You
sorry.
know?
What were you going to say?
She was talking to herself.
Stop interrupting. Okay, what?
It actually is true. I didn't know this, but talking to yourself can be considered a way to keep yourself focused. So if you find yourself in the house going, you know what, and you repeat it out loud, we all have thoughts in our head. I have to go to the grocery store. I better not forget the dry cleaning, whatever it is. You have these thoughts going on in your house, in your head. Same thing. However, when you say it out loud, it's not crazy. It may sound like that to your roommates or other people in your life, but it's about focusing that thought. And by saying it out loud, you tend to put a stamp on it. Does that make sense to you?
Well, I'm an auditory learner, so if I put something somewhere where I think I'm going to forget, I'll say purse on table, because then it's just another way that you're hearing the information. You saw what you did, and then you heard the information.
And that's exactly what they're saying. That
Yeah.
there's some way of being able to keep yourself in check. Number one, it also can be calming if you are, I talk to the dog, and
Yeah.
tell him what we're going to do today, and it's a way for me to sort of sort out my schedule. But it's considered normal, not crazy if you do it. If you answer yourself, then that's crazy.
I think
Dr. Lemos speaks.
I think that
Just talk, don't answer.
choosing a career in radio to some degree, you are really talking to yourself when you open
You
the
really
mic.
are. When
Yeah.
you think about it, if you're in the studio alone. And speaking of that, starting tonight on KLBP at 8 p.m., we're going to have a very special live show that starts up, and it'll be here every weekend for you, featuring me.
Yeah.
I'm coming in, and I want to play R&B. I've always wanted to play R&B music on the radio. And Saturday nights, we have R&B between 8 o'clock and 11. And I thought, you know what? I'm just going to come in and take off the robot and talk to people out there.
Sweet.
Yeah.
So if you feel like you want to come and join me, first of all, if you're listening to us on the radio, you'd have to find us.
Right.
We're down below Shannon's. But if you feel like coming by, and I'm going to offer any of my pals to come and have a bit of a radio party on Saturday night, why not, huh?
So that's
Yeah.
going to happen
Starting this Saturday. Yeah.
Tonight,
yeah.
Well, parking down here is going to be a tough with Grand Prix weekend.
That's why I live 5 blocks away, and I
Yeah.
can
Oh,
walk.
yeah.
It'll be awesome. But-
Catch you some other Saturday.
Yeah, and I'm glad I'll bring the dog
Exactly.
because walking home after it's over is going to be a little
Yeah.
challenging too. There's all that downtown stuff that goes on. So, but right now it's time for another song. How about that?
Yeah, this is a cool tune. It just was released. It's a charity piece. It's from the Ryman show that Ringo did and had all sorts of guest stars. I could list them. Let me list a few of them. Rodney
please.
Crowell,
Yeah.
Emmylou Harris, Jamie Johnson, Brenda Lee, Larkin Poe, Billy Strings, Molly Tuttle, Jack White, and they all did a grand
man.
finale of Ringo's signature song with a little help from my friends. Ringo! Peace and love, peace and love, peace and love.
It's mornings on the beach. That made me feel really good.
Yeah.
It's a weekend morning and nothing. Long Beach Grand Prix
Yeah, baby.
is on the on the table. You can hear it outside if you're anywhere near downtown. And it's a lot of fun. I like to get out in it just to mix around with people and, because
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's a lot of
shakes it up.
fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I can't take the dog. So
No,
we're
that's
going to
the-
limit our
yeah,
exposure.
that's a bad thing.
Yeah. Speaking of dogs, by the way, this is our crazy story section.
Okay.
The first one comes from science. And this, if you've heard of the dire wolf, it was extinct for quite some time. And scientists this past year have returned it from extinction. Is that the right way to say it?
Wow.
So it's no longer, Romulus and Remus are the two pups that they bred. And they tipped the scales at 80 pounds. They could grow up to 6 feet and 150 pounds.
6 feet
Is that something? Yeah. That's
long or tall?
long, I would imagine.
I saw Jurassic Park.
But they once, roamed around America as far south as Venezuela and as far north as Canada, but not a single one has been seen in 10,000 years.
Wow.
Isn't that something? They were able to cross the dogs or their genes with another animal and then a domestic dog, as surrogate mothers, and they brought out Romulus and Remus and their 2-month-old sister, Kalasi. At 3 separate births during the winter and fall of last year.
Wow.
So what? They're back now. What's next?
Yeah, what do they do with
amazing.
them?
I don't know, but what other species have gone extinct? The dodo bird. That'd be good to have back. Actually, I think that'd be kind of
Would it?
I don't know. It depends on what they used to do.
How big was it? That's what I want to know.
They are cute in cartoons.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
But I don't know about
No, that Dire Wolf I thought was a Grateful Dead song, which it is.
it is, isn't
Yeah.
it? Yeah, that's great. But yeah, isn't that something? You remember Dolly the sheep? They cloned the
Yeah.
sheep. That was like 30 years ago. Wow.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
that
no.
was 30 years
And
ago.
of course, they still say that technology still produces problems in cloned animals, such as large birth size organ defects, premature aging, and immune system problems, not to mention that third eye on their forehead.
Rage.
But would you clone your animal if you could? Have you ever had a dog?
This American Life had a TV show for a while, and there's a story about a guy who cloned his bull.
No kidding.
Yeah, and it ended up because it didn't have the temperament. He loved the bull he had, so he cloned it, but it didn't have the temperament of that. And the grand finale of this show is the bull spears him in the sack parts.
Oh no!
We didn't see that coming.
I just saved you an hour of your time.
Yikes.
You hear it in the background. Yeah. So it looked like his bull, but it didn't have the temperament or personality.
Was it Paris Hilton that cloned her own little doggy? I think there was some celebrity cloned their doggy.
No doubt.
Yeah. So, interesting.
It just seems like it's high risk to me.
But here's something that is really high risk. Would you get on a plane if you didn't know where you were going and you agreed to go wherever it was going? There is an airline that is running surprise flights with unknown destination passengers. Only find out when they land.
I'm a woman. No way.
You could do that?
No, who knows where I'm going to end up in Saudi Arabia? Am I going to end up where I can just get snatched off the streets?
But you know what? That's part of the adventure.
Yeah, I know. Am I going to have to cover my face and my...
I never thought of that. But yeah, whatever. Or, as a gay man, drop me in the middle of Iran where, it's not legal. And yeah, you're right.
Yeah, there's a couple things, it's
Why would people want to do that? I think it was just for the, what's and giggles.
Well, I have seen a company that does a travel thing where you commit to go to this, to let them choose the vacation, but they book everything and you find out when you're in the airport where you're going. They say pack for cold weather, pack for this, pack for that, and then they book everything.
But if you're a business, and it sounds like this is wrapped around
something. It is.
You're gonna want to have return customers, right?
You're gonna send them where they're gonna get decapitated.
Yeah.
Not where it's cheapest to land.
Right.
Right. You take Spirit Airlines.
Yeah, really. Wherever you go.
Right to Uzbekistan.
Now, how much we talked a minute ago about your dog? Would you clone him? How much do you love your dog?
I love my dog.
Would you reach into the mouth of an alligator to save your dog?
No.
This woman did. A woman in Florida risked her life to save her beloved dog, Kona, after a 6.5-foot alligator grabbed the pet's head in its mouth during an evening walk. Oh. She said, suddenly I saw the eyes. I saw it turning itself around, so I started pulling her right away. Kona, let's go. But she's a strong dog. In a split second, the alligator had gotten Kona's whole head in its mouth. And she said, I didn't even think. I jumped on it, straddled it, as ladylike as that is. And I was trying to pry its jaw open. And she said the alligator's back was to her, and she doesn't remember all the details, but she got the dog free, and it was able to run with only a couple puncture marks in the poor dog's little shoulder area.
Wow.
I guess you act
I
first.
don't know. Could you imagine if that,
When I was teaching for COVID, so I was at home, I could hear this dog outside and this woman screaming, and it kept going on. So I walked out there, and this woman had her little dog in her hands, and this stray pit bull was jumping up at her dog.
Oh, no.
And she was, of course, panicked and trying to get into the gate of the neighbor. And I just walked in, and I didn't even notice what I did. One of the neighbors saw me do it. I just walked out and pounded the pit bull on top of the head. Boom, boom, boom. And walked back in, and then that gave her enough time to take the dog into the apartment building. And
that's a badass.
I know my neighbor was like, "Oh my God! You pounded that thing." I was like, "Well, I was busy. I had to teach."
I was busy.
So maybe I would pull my dog out of the mouth of an alligator.
I can see you coming out of the kitchen with a cooking spoon while you're stirring the pot.
No, man, don't mess with a woman trying to get her job done.
There you go.
Right, trying to walk my dog, trying to do my job.
I wouldn't. I would not mess with that.
Now you know.
That's wild. That's wild. Well, what else do we have going on this week? Val Kilmer. That was sad.
Yeah.
That was sad. Yeah. It's part of your... And I didn't realize, because I didn't see the Maverick, the new one, the new Top Gun, that he was in that movie as well. And then he was having speech problems, and he was really just...
there's a documentary on him that's kind of sad to watch, because it shows all the great stuff he did, and then it shows some of the decline.
Well, that's kind of the downside of being a celebrity. They got film on you when you're young.
Exactly.
They got all that stuff to give you. It is Mornings on the Beach, and I think that's pretty much wrapping it. Oh, yeah, actually, we got to get out of here before we spill over into the next show. But we got something to promote.
Yeah, right Sunday morning, LA radio sessions,
Right.
and we're going to focus on the Grand Prix because our signal covers the Grand Prix area. So I'm hoping that we can
yeah.
get some people
Oh, you did,
tuning
that's
into
right.
99.1 FM. If you're coming to the Grand Prix, bring a radio, go old school, bring a
That'd be great.
radio, and turn us up because between 10 and 11, I'm going to do a pre-show to the Grand Prix. Going to be songs about cars, speed, sunshine,
Right
everything Grand Prix oriented.
Oh, that's going to be awesome. That's coming up at 10 o'clock right
Yes,
here.
yes.
And I'll tell you what, if you are listening and you do bring an old school radio and you find me and Mike, we'll buy you lunch.
Absolutely.
Which is kind of interesting because they have no idea what Mike and I look like.
Right.
or what a radio
safe.
looks like.
Or what a radio look exactly.
All right. For Mornings on the Beach, I'm Danny Lemos.
I'm Mike Stark.
Melanie Ray.
And we will talk to you next week.
Yeah, and we're going to go out with a song from George Harrison, who was a big race fan, and he wrote this about Formula One racing, which was the initial race that was here in
Right.
Long Beach. And he was seen down here all the time when that race went
I
on.
didn't know that.
So,
It's a two Beatles show.
So, yeah, and so this is a song called Faster.